Ugh. What more do I have to say? What the fuck, Cartoon Network? Teen Titans Go isn't just one of the most hated Cartoon Network shows of recent memory, it's also one of the most polarizing cartoons they've ever put out. I know I already did a review of their most recent Christmas episode, and I do want to talk about this show as little as possible in the future. Bigger fish to fry, you know? But damn it, another reason to talk about this show just came out. Now, I know I mentioned at one point that I wanted to get my thoughts on the Powerpuff Girls revival out of the way at some point, but I gotta say, it's really hard for me to talk about it, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. I'm undeniably a fan of the original Powerpuff Girls. It's a staple in Cartoon Network's catalog of cartoons. Heck, as a comedic superhero show, it's basically what Teen Titans Go wants to be but fails at being. One episode could be about a family plotting revenge against the girls, the next could be about Mojo Jojo running errands. It's funny, relatable, well animated, it's everything Cartoon Network means to me and more. It also makes me happy that the entire original series is on Netflix, so you can watch it whenever you want as long as you have a subscription, which I highly recommend you do. I think the problem with talking about the revival is that, well, there's just so many problems to talk about. The most glaring for me is how hypocritical the production staff comes off as. They take Miss Bellum out because she is apparently not sending the message they want the show to have, yet they have the girls twerking. The original trio wasn't brought in because they wanted to infuse new energy in the cast, yet Tom Kenny, Jennifer Hale, Tom Kane, and a few more are still here. Speaking of, this special must have been really annoying for Tara Strong to deal with. Might I remind you, she was the one who called the replacement a stab at the heart on Twitter last year? I'm sure the actors had a blast doing their roles, but I can't help but feel bad for Tara either way. At the end of the day, this crossover isn't all that surprising, even if each show is produced by a separate wing of Time Warner. Besides, Teen Titans Go and the Powerpuff Girls revival are both shows that thrive in meme culture. But in the end, was it really a good choice to do this? No, of course not, but let's check it out anyways. I guess one red flag for me when I checked out my DVR for this episode was the length. This is an 11-minute episode, not 30 minutes. This is classified as a Teen Titans Go episode, and the length I guess is to be expected considering it's the norm for the show. So far, the show's only done 2 half-hour episodes, both in this season. The problem is that, as always, Cartoon Network hyped up this episode like crazy, yet there's barely any payoff. It's like a candy company releasing a new product with tons of marketing, and the only size they currently have is really small. If these 2 standard plot lines can be half hours, why can't your big crossover be one too? If you're gonna put so much time and energy into your marketing, why can't you at least put some time and energy into making the payoff decent? Oh wait, this is the Teen Titans Go writers we're talking about. They don't give a damn about integrity, they're just in it for profit. Even with 2 red flags so far, let me take you on a tour through the Powerpuff Girls and Teen Titans Go crossover spectacular. Look, I know it's not the best name, but damn it, it's better than Heroes vs. Heroes. This is also acceptable. The special starts off, as expected, on a mixed note in the Powerpuff Girls dimension. Mojo Jojo is planning on creating a monkey army, but as you'd expect, the girls come in to try and stop him, and they come dangerously close. Mojo reveals his latest invention, Powerpuff Girls Repellent, and goes through a portal. Fascinating. Now, if this was something clever like the original show, they'd do something like make the repellent ineffective at stopping the girls, and they'd just chase them through the portal as quickly as possible. But this is the revival, so this is the highlight of our humor tonight, folks. Speaking of revival, the structure of this dimension is really giving me mixed messages. On one end, it's boxy like the original show, and due to Teen Titans Go's art direction, the characters all have that classic thick line look to them. But they decide to use the revival's cast, when I really think it would have been better and probably easier if they just had the original trio. I mean, from her Twitter alone, it's obvious Tara Strong loves Bubbles, so why not bring her into Act 2 as Raven and Bubbles, and just bring in Kathy and E.G. along with it. You can probably guess by now that I don't really care for the revival's new trio. Call me a classicist, but considering how hypocritical the casting decisions are, I feel I have a right to criticize this change. They just don't have nearly as much spark or charm as the original trio, especially the new Bubbles. Her new voice direction just doesn't fit as much as Tara's portrayal of the character. Before I ramble on for too much longer, I guess I'll get one more nitpick I have about this universe out of the way. Before I say anything else, I'll just say that I like how the characters look here. It's definitely more fitting than in the actual 2016 series. My problem is that with the various factors that I mentioned previously, this Townsville doesn't feel like it's in the Revivals universe or the originals. It feels like some weird hybrid. Why couldn't Cartoon Network Studios handle the opening in the style of the 2016 show, and then Warner Brothers Animation could tackle the rest of the special with the Teen Titans Go art style? And you know what the funniest part about all this is? This is debatably not even the biggest problem of the special. Meanwhile, in the Titans Tower, Beast Boy and Cyborg are doing what you'd expect Beast Boy and Cyborg to be doing, until Mojo teleports himself into the room. He comes to the conclusion that the two are superheroes and decides to let them help him build his monkey army. I'll fill you in a bit from before, but Mojo came to Jump City because it's apparently a place where superheroes don't fight villains. Even though that's not exactly the case, I thought the concept of Go was that it shows what the Titans do when they're not fighting crime. It doesn't flat out state that the Titans don't fight crime because they blatantly fight villains in many episodes. God, not even the Teen Titans Go Riders can follow their rules. Like, that's bad. Oh, and this mentions the first of several jokes where Robin is the only one who can hear the narrator, which is confusing because I thought all the characters were able to hear the narrator. Wasn't fourth wall humor part of the original show's charm? So Raven and Starfire also come into the room after the Every Villain is Lemon trio leaves, and wouldn't you know it, the Powerpuff Girls show up and tell the Titans about Mojo. And this right here is perhaps my biggest issue with this special, and it's a common problem with Teen Titans Go as a whole: mean-spirited humor. I get that humor is subjective and that there are people who genuinely like this style of humor. The problem here is that there's no good sense of karma. The Titans never get comeuppance for being such dicks to the girls. Even after being proven that the girls are, kinda humorously, better at just about everything than the Titans, they come off as massively entitled dickheads. Even if the writing is mostly pretty lazy, I know that these writers can make the Titans genuinely likable at points, even with characters as hated as Robin and Cyborg. At the very least, why don't the Titans just learn from calling the girls such harsh terms as tiny helpless babies and actually genuinely help them stop Mojo Jojo? I get that this is something Teen Titans Go's humor style thrives on, and it's a problem the show will most likely always continue to face until the day it gets cancelled. But in stories like this, it's just so glaring that you can't help but bring it up. So as you might expect, the Titans are complete jerks to the Powerpuff Girls even after being proven several times that they're smart, competent superheroes. Eventually, Robin realizes that Beast Boy and Cyborg are missing and discovers that they went with Mojo. Oh, and in typical Titans fashion, instead of being considerate to the fact that the girls don't want a competition, they insist on having one and act like that's actually what the girls want. Their motive for this is up for speculation because I can't seem to find a purpose for this blatant ignorance. Either way, don't worry, it gets better later. Meanwhile, Beast Boy, Cyborg, and Mojo are having the time of their lives creating the monkey army, and it's just as repetitive as you'd expect. Anybody in the mood for some ape escape? The scene finishes off with Mojo falling asleep, with Beast Boy and Cyborg promising to help him finish the army while he dozes off. While they get to work, the Powerpuff Girls and the Titans face off trying to find the two. As you might expect, the girls beat the Titans in every competition. Is it weird that I think Teen Titans Go gives the Powerpuff Girls better characterization than in their own revival? Oh, and remember when I said it gets better later on? Well...
it wasn't a competition.
How very immature. What do you expect? They're babies.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you forever. Fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves, you fucks.
Anybody else just want to see the girls beat up the Titans right about now? So Cyborg and Beast Boy reveal to Mojo that by finishing the army, they turned the battle monkeys into party monkeys. Okay. As you might expect, Mojo is not amused, but he doesn't care for long though, as the Powerpuff Girls and the rest of the Titans are on their way to his Jump City branch? I don't know. Luckily, he's got that oh-so-poisonous Powerpuff Girls repellent to help stop the girls, and as revenge for their shenanigans, he locks Beast Boy and Cyborg in a cage to use as bait. Thanks to the narrator, yet again, Robin finds out that Mojo knows they're coming, but fortunately, he's got a plan. So the girls, supposedly, break into Mojo's Jump City branch and fly straight into the repellent. Fortunately, it wasn't even the girls at all, it was Robin, Raven, and Starfire in disguise. So the repellent only works on the Powerpuff Girls themselves? I thought Bubbles mentioned that it was poisonous gas, so unless they're somehow immune to it, how the fuck did these three get out? Also, I'm kinda surprised that Raven isn't dressed up as Bubbles, Star is. I know, it would be ironic as fuck, but I think it would have been a nice little shout out to Tara's voice acting history. Plus, the other character she previously, and hopefully will someday once again voice, is floating literally walking distance away. Speaking of, the actual girls come in, beat up Mojo, and realize that the Titans are straw fucking hypocrites through and through.
Well, we couldn't have done it without you.
She has admitted it! I knew it.
Looks like the Teen Titans win after all! Boom!
Besides that, the episode ends with Cyborg and Beast Boy still in the cage for some reason, and a shout out to the classic Powerpuff Girls ending that just signifies the big problem Teen Titans Go faces.
And so, once again, the day is saved. No thanks to the Teen Titans. Seriously, what is wrong with those guys?
Putting everything I've said aside, how was this special as a whole? On one end, I like how the Powerpuff Girls and Mojo look here. I'd say Teen Titans Go's art style is one of the better aspects to the show, and that couldn't be any truer here. Also, even with the Revival's cast being used here, the voice actors do a superb job, even with a lazy script like this. But on the other end, the plot and humor are pretty lazy, and the fact that this is only an 11-minute episode is a huge smack to the face to the viewer. At the end of the day though, surprisingly, I'd probably recommend this special to anyone. It's bad, and not even bad enough to be good, but I had a surprisingly fun time watching it. Something about this reluctant team-up actually worked for me. In the future, if they can ever get Craig McCracken to help out on it, I would love to see them try a half-hour crossover with the two superhero teams. I actually think I'll share my ideas on a potential second crossover between Teen Titans Go and the Powerpuff Girls in a future video. I'm not gonna lie, I'd love to see them try another crossover sometime. But in the meantime, this mediocre special is what we're stuck with, and that's kind of a shame. The Teen Titans Go and Powerpuff Girls crossover spectacular. I may recommend it, but take that recommendation with a grain of salt.